It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Welcome to episode 278 of Two Guys and a Goalie with Nielsen, Cass, and Gager. I kind of view Two Guys and a Goalie, and it's brought to you by our partners, Cool Bet, pretty much been with us from the very beginning, all part of the Nielsen Media Cool Bet Network now. And if you want to sign up for an account today, use the code 2GUYS, number 2 in the word guys. And last night's earlier game went according to plan. So Mr. Nielsen's account's feeling pretty good right now. But no, I almost feel like there's like 4 generations, like 4 eras of Two Guys and a Goalie. Like we had the dungeon era down at Little Brick where we started. Then we had the pandemic era where all 4 of us were together with Hernan, but we were from our house. Then we had the post-Hernan era. So I guess, 3 eras. Right? That would be right. Three different eras? Is that kind of how you guys view it?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're in version 3.0. Yep.
Yeah, 3.0.
We got rid of the dead weight.
I was going to say, Hernan still listens to this, Gager. My goodness, that poor guy.
Well, he should.
No, you were talking about Little Brick.
He should stop listening and start worrying about them Elks, because, jeez.
It's on him to turn it around.
It is. It is.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
all right. So anyway, if you've been with us for 278 episodes, thank you very much. We had a great message from somebody who reached out, and they've been dealing with some mental health things. They said the podcast helps him kind of get away from it all and puts a smile on his face. So it's funny because we sit here, we joke around, we play games, we talk hockey. And then when you see somebody actually send out a message like that, it kind of hits home, like that. We're doing a service for some people and helping some people along the way, which is kind of a bonus, to be honest with you.
That was amazing. Jerry, and I've seen his posts. I follow him on Twitter. He's kind of like me. He's hockey and F1 a little bit. So I love this guy. But Jerry, I'm glad that you were able to get the help that you need, and if we can provide any little thing during your day and help brighten it up, that's amazing. All the best, buddy. And we'll have to have some sort of Two Guys get together where we can meet these
that'd be fun.
Listen to us.
yeah. Find out what's wrong with everybody that listens to us, pretty much. You had to, what are we, not even 3.5 minutes in, and you've already dropped an F1 on us. Gager, you are fully. Cass comes on for everybody, like behind the scenes. We're sitting here getting ready to do the episode, and Cass goes, "Hey, when does the F1 season start?" And Gager kind of chuckles and goes, "You know when it starts." And Cass is like, "No, I technically kind of don't." Cass, I thought Gager was going to have a vein explode in his head.
He did. It just was on the back of his head, so you can't see it.
Gager, you probably have a calendar right now with all of the rollout dates for the new cars, don't you?
Oh, I know every car coming out, the dates. I have the countdowns on. There's I think there's 6 still to reveal the dates. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm sure the F1 TV is going to broadcast some of that. So I'm full in. I'm full on, Dusty. I can't wait till testing, end of February.
Drive to Survive, new season coming out end of February. They're going to do a golf version of this on Netflix as well. Let me ask you this, Gager, when was the last time you dove into something new as heavily as you have done? Like, we all kind of get sucked into things along the way in our life. When was the last time you got sucked into something like this?
Oh, so for pure selfish, total disregard for family, just for me personally kind of thing, Dusty? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
It would have to be the game Destiny years ago when I dove into that game.
Just all in. Like that was it.
Yeah. My son, somehow he saved up for an Xbox. I bought him some games. Destiny was one of them. I watched him play and I kind of was standing beside him like you remember old school arcades when you used to come up to the game and just put your quarter on there?
And creep around.
That's essentially what I did with my then 10-year-old, and then I jumped into the world of Destiny, and I was gone for a few years. I was patrolling the Cosmodrome, as they say and in the tower all day long. I loved that game. Unfortunately, it's a complete waste of time, and you don't accomplish anything. So I've had to take a few years off, but I've gone in and slayed in the Crucible a few times here and there since my son's got a new PS5.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either, but I just know that getting those little trophies and the objectives and Gager for you, the gear, it's that dopamine, just the rush, the accomplishment rush.
It's so stupid, but essentially, I would, to put it into layman's terms, I would get like a new outfit, so a new shirt, pants, maybe a hat, and then go to the mall. And walk around, and everyone going, "Oh my God, see that guy's pants and shirt? He must have did this mission."
It's just digital.
Yeah. Whoa. He must have finished it on this level. It glows.
Wow.
Oh, man,
wow. Cass, what about you, buddy? Like, when was the last time you really became obsessed with something?
Probably, I mean, also in the video game category, probably the original Warzone, I will say.
Okay.
Back when that first, so a couple years ago, when that first dropped as like a battle royale, and that was right, like, in pandemic era too, I guess. Like, so, you couldn't go out and see buddies. You couldn't go, out for dinner with each other, or go for coffee, or just go bowling. Like, you couldn't go see I couldn't see my buddies. And so we kind of all jumped into that as a way to hang out together and talk. And our version of talking is very much the male version of talking, where we're just kind of grunting and yelling at each other. And my wife will be like, "So what'd you guys talk about? Like, you guys like discuss like how you're doing?" And I'm like, I don't know. But it was a great time. Like, we felt like we expanded on our friendship, and we edified each other. But probably would have been that. That's probably the last time where it was something like I was like, I'm in on this, because it was just, we were grown ups. And same thing, it's like you can get your cool cosmetics, and you're not 16 playing junior anymore. So not that they even had that sort of stuff back then anyways, but I'm like, I got more money than these little kids that are playing this game. So, I can make my guy look cool if I want.
I'm sure there's been like small things over the last like 20 years I've become obsessed with for a bit. But the most I've ever been obsessed with anything was with Tony Hawk when it first came out on PlayStation. Like, I'm talking change of lifestyle, boys. Like, I basically dropped out of university because all I did was play video games. All I did was play Tony Hawk. And I would go to like skate shops and buy like the big baggy jeans and like Echo hoodies and skate shoes. And it was a mess. I remember I went home like at Easter to see my family, and my mom was like, "What the hell has happened to you?" Because I was like a farm kid, and then I played sports in high school, and I rolled back home at 21 with like long hair and like a 4XL hoodie and like pants as wide as you could possibly get. I remember I used to go to stores and people were like, "Oh, do you skate?" I'm like, "No, but I play the video game and I'm really good at it." Like, it was so bad. I'm very happy. I finally moved home in the summer, and my mom and dad got me back on track, because I was full blown like Bucky LASIK. If you go back to the video game, like, it was just, I haven't been that bad in the last 20 years. That was, although when I went to Spengler, I did buy that game for my Nintendo Switch. And on the way back, I probably played it for about 6 hours on the flight. I just put on Top Gun Maverick, watched it over and over, and played Tony Hawk, and I completed every single aspect of the first 4 levels. And it was good. It was good to be back, I'm not gonna lie. But if I log on to do an episode of Two Guys and a Goalie and I have an Echo hoodie on, you guys are gonna have to text me, and there has to be a little bit of a group meeting, because I gotta get that back under control. It would not be good. All right, let's dive into it. Oilers last night. The Ducks suck. It's that simple. The Oilers should have never lost to them in December. They crushed them last night. Cass, what's your big takeaway from that game last night? It would have been a late post-game show for you guys.
Yeah, it was late. I'm always so tired. I'm like, am I even making sense at the end of this? I'm just like trying to think. I'm just ready for bed. My biggest takeaway, I mean, it's that they have the ability to stomp on teams that they should stomp on. They can do it. and we've seen it at times before in the past. But it's like such like yeah, you expect them to beat Anaheim like that. They should beat Anaheim like that every single time. And then I go back to that game they lost against Anaheim. I'm like, how did they lose that game? So it's such a interesting thought process looking those games through, because I'm like, well, on the one hand, they're doing exactly what they need to do and what they should do, and is great that they're doing. And then I'm like, well, then why these other times when they're playing some teams that are below them, do they just suck?
Inconsistency. I mean, that's been a running theme all year, even against good teams, really, right? Like, yeah. They got one last night. Gager, how much can you read into that though? Like, I don't want to sit here and say, well, who cares? But how much can you read into it last night?
No. Well, everyone said you got to take it game by game, right? But how long have we been taking it game by game? And it's just the roller coaster of the Oilers this year. And like basically what Kaz says is what's frustrating is the fact that they have the ability to stomp. They're not the Ducks where they can't stomp. They're fighting tooth and nail for everything. Yeah. Like their ability is so high, and I guess that's an encouraging thing if you really look at it, because the potential's still there. Like I still like all this talk about adding one player, I don't think makes a difference to this team. Maybe a slight, but the internal people that are there now are the ones that are going to have to right this ship. I don't think there's another player, without getting rid of one of Connor or Leon, and then you're just swapping apples for apples at that point. But I don't see one player coming in and making the Oilers that much better. They need to look internally and get completely better as a group, because let's face it, there's guys on this team that haven't played to their potential.
Cass, what do you think about that thought process of one guy fixing things or making things better?
If that guy's Edmondson, I think he fixes a lot.
You like Edmondson, hey?
I like Edmondson for this team. Yeah. Because I think he brings, and we'll talk about our buddy Vinny here in a minute, which I thought he played a good game, so we'll jump there. But, the one thing you don't have on your back end is a guy that plays a significant amount of minutes, that plays a bruising, mean, simple, effective type of game. That's a PK guy, a shutdown guy, that's just meat and potatoes, steady, and will run people in the corners and make it painful in front of the net. And I think Edmondson gives you that in a guy that's got a little bit of term, so he's not like a short-term rental at a fair year cost. Yeah. So you have him for more than 1 year at a reasonable price. Now, the price to get him, that's something else. I don't know if it'll happen.
Would you give up a first for him, Cass?
Probably.
Yeah.
You're getting him for 2 years. You're in you wouldn't do 2. You're in a 1 year window. So you probably got to do like a Puljujarvi first or something like that to clear cap space to be able to bring him in. But you're getting a guy for more than 1 year, so it's not a short-term rental. If it was, if he was a UFA after this year, I wouldn't do a first rounder for that. But I mean, listen, I think Gager's mostly right in that it probably has to come from within, but I still think you need some help defensively. I think you need a little bit more than that.
Gager, does the expectations you have for this team change if they acquire Joel Edmondson?
Ooh. Well, so let's look at it then. If Western Conference Final, from what I saw, it's going to Colorado Avalanche or maybe the Knights, but one of those teams are going to be there. I would think. With the Avalanche, what we saw, and the personnel that's missing, adding Edmondson, and even let's raise the level of play from players that are underperforming this year. Can they beat the Colorado Avalanche at that point? I don't think Edmondson pushes them over the top. That doesn't do it for me. I do think if the proper progression of what the Oilers have that becomes more competitive in years to come. But this year, I know everyone's like, win now, but when I look at what the Oilers are going up against, I I don't think this is their year. They can do something, and who knows? Like once you get in, there could be injuries that could cause them to go over the top. Maybe Colorado doesn't, or Vegas has some injury problems, but for the whole team, I just think they're at a level that are higher than what the Oilers are right now.
A few other things to discuss from this game last night. I was really, when I saw him get the bump and then he scored last night, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk to the boys about Dylan Holloway. Because, Gager, you've been a little hesitant on him. Cass, you've been saying he probably should be in the American Hockey League. Instead, they go the other way. They put him up with McDavid last night, gets a goal early on a nice feed from 97. Thought he was okay after that. Cass, what do you think of the decision to move him up? And is that hey, we're playing a shitty team, let's give them a look, and then when they play the Golden Knights on Saturday, it's somebody else up there? Is that what that was, or is it more than this?
That's the question, is who's he going to be playing with on Saturday? Like, hey, if you're going to play the kid against Anaheim and you're going to play him 14 minutes a night, sure, great. Like, have him here because he can be effective and he can grow and he can learn and he can develop against those teams. It's the playing him 7 minutes a night that drives me nuts, because I'm like, this is a kid you want to fit into your top six. And as we've seen in spurts with him, saw it in preseason, saw it a little bit yesterday, he's got the talent and the abilities to be there. That was a great goal. Great job, and beautiful pass by McDavid, but a great job by Holloway to get to a position, to put himself in that position and to finish. Like, it was a great play by Holloway. You want him to be able to do that and to do it on the regular. I don't know if he has a chance to develop properly if he's playing 6 minutes a night. So yeah, if you're going to play him 14 minutes a night, great. But I think that was by far and away the most minutes he's played this year yet. Is it not?
It would have to be. I mean, he might have maybe it was a little bit more, but I would bet that was probably the most that we saw. I mean, he had 13 minutes a game before as well. I know I saw some folks say, oh, he's really earned this opportunity. I don't necessarily know he's been turning the lights out in the bottom six. You go, wow, I got to find a spot for him in the top six. I see why they put him up there against the Ducks. Gager, evaluate this current situation for us. What say you?
Yeah, I'd like to see him. Isn't it? They play Friday against the Sharks, correct?
They play Sharks Friday night, Saturday.
I would. Yeah, don't mess with a winning lineup. I would start him there. He's on Friday
be
playing. Yeah, he's going to be playing against one of the top lines of the Sharks, and it's another game where the Oilers have to win. I like the fact that he's scoring from distance too, Dusty. That's nice. And he read the play. Great play by Barry, first of all. The whole anticipation. That's when the Oilers are playing that, when they're anticipating things and intercepting plays, like we'll probably talk Costin, the goal he scored. And then Holloway getting in a good position, and once McDavid has the puck, if you can get in a good position to score, he's going to find you. So yeah, I want to see more of that. If that kind of translates into him being more productive offensively, because it's very hard to score consistently when you're in that lower half of the lineup.
When Kane comes back, I feel like Yamamoto probably remains in the top six. Kane gets that spot. Is that kind of how it works, Cass? And then maybe that's what this is. Maybe Holloway gets 3 or 4 games there until Kane returns, and then he slides back down, maybe takes some of that confidence with him. Could that be the plan here?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know, because I've been saying for a while, if the amount they're playing him, he should probably go down and play 15, 16 minutes a night down in Baco. On another note, really, really quick, and sorry for jumping in and changing this here, but I didn't get to talk about it in the post-game show yesterday. And I guess we can even lead into the Clean Costin conversation here with his play on the forecheck that he causes a turnover and scores a goal. I thought the Oilers yesterday, and Kyler Yamamoto and Costin in particular, did an amazing job. And for people that sometimes wonder about a guy like Yamamoto and they're freaking out about he doesn't score enough goals and he hasn't got enough points. And even if you listen to Connor McDavid's post-game interview where he talked about the forechecking job that he did and that Costin has done as well, those guys are turning pucks over. And when they're at their best, it's not just getting points, it's also creating some offense for other guys that maybe doesn't show up on the score sheet. Because if you look at some of that offense created, I mean, Oilers players doing a great job on the forecheck led to a whole bunch of them. And that's something you need to see continue to happen. Kostin, that maybe has been where he's been most effective, arguably, I would say.
Yeah, he gets in there.
Here is getting in there on the forecheck and then just finding his way to the front of the net. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because I didn't get to talk about it yesterday.
Well, but it ties in nicely, especially with I keep wanting to call him Klim. I got to get used to the Kleem. It's messing with me. Gager, 5 goals in his last 7 games. His 7 games with the Oilers, or 7 goals with the Oilers, actually puts him 5th on the team in goals, which is just it's insane how nobody else scores outside of the top 4. Obviously, when Kane gets back, he had 5 and 14. But Kostin is pretty much come in here, and especially with Kane out, has filled the void. He's definitely like Kane hasn't had to fight. I won't say he doesn't fight, but he hasn't fought yet as an Edmonton Oiler. Kostin's already come in, dropped the mids a couple times. Like he's in such a great spot here because there's really not competition for guys like him, right, Gager? There's nobody else with the exception of Kane who plays at a more higher elevated. There's nobody else in the bottom 6 that can even sniff the way this guy plays.
That's why I'm interested to see if you could have a line with Draisaitl, Kostin, and Evander Kane as a line, and then Nuge, Hyman, and McDavid as your other line. And just having that big, beefy, grindy, tough guys to play against. That'd be a killer line for me to see. Like you guys said Yamo in the top 6. I think when the way Kostin's playing, I think that bumps Yamo down to.
Well, he's been playing better lately, for sure.
Yeah. So I think they can provide an element now that's needed, that was needed for the Oilers, and it just gets that much bigger with Evander Kane.
Be interesting to see when Kane's back. Cass, do you think they would go McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge down the middle again with Kane backers? Right now they got McLeod kind of on the wing there. You bring Kane back, you've got Kostin, then you've got Yamamoto and Puljujarvi. You could play somewhere on the right side, and Kostin and Kane and Hyman up. Like I guess there's just a few more options now than there was when Kane went out because of the development of Kostin and Holloway for that matter.
Yeah, it gives you flexibility. And going with 3 lines of that center depth, it gives you the ability to roll 3, and especially coming out of power plays, penalty kills. You have a little bit extra flexibility where with a guy like McLeod, he can play center because then all 3 of your centers are on your power play, primary number 1, that basically stays out for 2 minutes. So you still need guys to be able to slide in there and fill that post power play role. And so it just gives you more flexibility, and that's what depth does. It gives you flexibility up and down the lineup and the ability to move some things around. So, I don't know if Kostin stays above Yamamoto. I think McDavid just loves playing with Yamamoto. Absolutely loves playing with him. And I think for a good reason. And Kostin, to me, he's a bottom 6 guy that can flex into your top 6 at times when needed in stylistic type of games. So I don't know if he'd be the one I'd pencil in there. He's more of a guy like if Yamamoto wasn't having a good game or anyone else for that matter, he's a guy that can slide up in there that we've seen can have success.
A few comments in the Twitter chat right now. C. Bowie says, C. Bowie, I guess. Why mess with that Kostin, Nuge, Janmark line when they've played together? They've shown great chemistry. Somebody else suggests Holloway with McDavid and Hyman, and then you could go Kane with Yamamoto and Draisaitl, and then you could leave Nuge with Kostin and Janmark, and then you could just run Holloway and Puljujarvi as your 4th line forwards and rotate the centers through with them, which could potentially be a pretty decent line as well. So there certainly is some offensive depth. Defensively, Desharnais makes his debut last night. Gager, what'd you think of him?
Great. Awesome. I liked his mobility. You know what? There was one pass I didn't like, but it was in the first, but I don't want to compare him completely, but Ethan Bear had a really good little 6-foot pass where he hit the center, and Vinny did that a couple times. And I loved the fact that most of the time when he got the puck, his first option was where he passed to. Like where there was talk about great first pass defenseman, and he was doing that for most of the night. Penalty kill, massive body, getting in the way, vicious little cross checks to the lower back of guys that was nice to see. When guys would turn around to see who it was and they see this monster, they just let it go. So he has that type of presence. And the thing I like most about him, Dusty, is the fact that I believe he's 26 years old. The battle that he has gone through to get to the position where he is now, and being his age, is a direct link to he's figured out as a pro to what makes him successful. He's not like some of the younger Oilers defensemen who are still trying to figure out what kind of pro player it's going to take for me to be an NHL player. Vinny knows what type of player he has to be already. He's older. He's gone through it. He's played in the minors. He knows what he has to do to be successful. He's not stepping out of anything that he's done before to do anything else. So, and that's what we saw. We saw a guy play his first NHL game and look pretty comfortable out there for the most part. I know they're playing against the Ducks, and there's going to be some speed things that are going to be a little bit overwhelming at times, but he knows what type of D-man he is already. That's what got him here. That's how he's going to be successful. And it was great to hear Coach Woodcroft say, that him and Manson kind of brought him up and was really proud to be part of his development. And I mean, it's great to go into a NHL situation where you know the coaches and have that rapport with them already. For I guess in practice, he knew all the drills. It's very, that familiarity he has is great. So of course there's going to be bumps in the road, but gosh, wouldn't it be nice if he can just solidify and get that Edmondson thing out of here.
Great breakdown, Gager. Cass, anything to add on Vincent?
I mean, I'm going criticism sandwich here because
okay, I like
this. I
this.
did it last night. I'm going to do it again today. It's what my wife does to me when I screw things up. She tells me something very kind. She gives me something to improve, and then she tells me something very kind. It works.
That's very nice of your wife. My wife doesn't do that.
It's a criticism sandwich. It makes it easier to digest. You get through that tough stuff in the middle. There was a play when he got the penalty, comes out of the penalty box. He's more covering winger, but he kind of ends up down low. But there's a play when he picked up the puck and he found outlet pass in the middle of the ice. Beautiful, beautiful pass. Worked really well. They were able to transition the puck, and I was like, that was a really, really good play. So there was some times when he read the ice and it looked really good. There was the one instance when it didn't look very good. Gager, we're probably talking about the same pass in the first period where he kind of went back to that play to try to move the puck to the middle of the ice. And he turned it over, went straight. Now nothing came of it. No chance against. Still was a turnover. I still went like out loud when it happened, because it's like, oh, that wasn't the right play. So there will be some growing pains there potentially. Hopefully not very many. That's the criticism. Now the third good part is I really liked some of the physicality and some of his positioning, both in 5-on-5 and PK. 5-on-5, he had a nice little play where he kept the puck in, and you saw him use his side to pinch off the wall, to take away some space and use his reach. And you really saw him use the reach on the PK. And that's the one thing I really liked on the PK was I liked how he used his size and he used his reach to his advantage, which could be very beneficial for the Oilers if he stays here and is able to keep playing. I guess one more criticism. So it's like a club sandwich.
There's an extra piece of bread in here. It's a Big Mac.
Piece of something I forgot to say in the middle. And it's not so much a criticism as it maybe like a pickle. Some people like it, some people don't, or like an olive sticking on the little pointy thing that goes into the sandwich.
Keep your olives away from my sandwich sticks.
Exactly. That's it. So some people may like it, some people may not. I'm not a big fan of guys wiggling their stick back and forth on the PK as fast as they can. I don't think it works. I think depending on where the positioning of the player who has the puck is, you have your stick in one lane or you have it in the other lane, depending on where you're trying to force the puck, instead of kind of doing a wiggle back and forth in the middle. So that may be my own personal preference. Like that's me. He may have been taught something else, and maybe the coaching staff is happy with that, and they may like that. So it's not even, I guess, a real criticism, but something to watch.
Rebuttal. I got a rebuttal here.
Go ahead.
I'm sure we're talking about that same play in the first period, Cass, where he makes that. But what was really important to me was his response after that play. You didn't see him go down on one knee and try to 2-pad stack and try to make up for the mistake he just made that we've seen from a lot of more experienced Oilers defensemen over the last few months. He calmly surveyed the whole situation, got back into a good defensive position where he could take something away if it happened. He didn't panic, and it was like a way more veteran defensive move for a guy playing his first NHL game and throwing a pizza up the middle, getting intercepted, and he was calm about it. That's the sign of a very mature defenseman, which was great when I saw that.
Yep, fair. Yep. I'll accept your rebuttal. That's fair.
Let's quickly stick with the defenseman, moving away from the others. PK Subban's going to be honored in Montreal, where he had the best chunk of his career with the Canadiens, won a Norris Trophy there, had some playoff success there. Cass, you played against Subban. What was it like playing against the guy? Because he was, I don't want to say, well, no, I will say it. I mean, there were Carlson in his prime, Subban, Letang. Like, there weren't a ton of great offensive defensemen there for that stretch where Subban, with that bomb he had on the power play, he was pretty unique at the time.
Yeah, Parnell was. We called him Parnell. Easy Parnell. I hated playing against him because he was in Montreal. I hated Montreal. I was in Ottawa. We hated each other from a team standpoint. I love what he did for the game too, from a media standpoint, where he had some personality. And I know that rubs some guys the wrong way, but to me, it was good for the game. It's great for the game. And I'm so happy he's doing, because even from a long-term growing the game media standpoint, that he's got a deal. I think it's with ESPN, like where he's doing analysis on TV. Fantastic. Like, I think,
that's where he was always headed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He brought so much more to the game than just the offensive side. And he did bring the offensive side for a period of time where he was one of the better offensive guys in the league. At times would, from an analysis standpoint, would take himself a little bit too far out of position and try to do a little bit too much, maybe particularly later in the career. But I'm happy they're honoring him. He did have a fantastic career. I'm happy we beat them and we were able to laugh at him in the playoffs because that was fun. But yeah, I mean, he was a good defenseman. As you said, there weren't a ton of guys at that time defensively or defensemen that had that offensive flair. I mean, it's almost like he himself and Carlson too were almost like, I want to say they're the first in that a new generation.
Leaders transitioning into that generation.
Yeah. Into that generation. Because if you don't have like a Subban and you don't have like a Carlson, do you get a Cale Makar down the line? Like, does that transition happen? And it probably does eventually, but maybe not as quick. So, it was a little bit, I don't want to say ahead of his time, but part of that transitioning the defenseman into having the ability to impact the game offensively, he was part of that. And then, as you said, great on the power play too. So really, really good player. Really good player. Drove me nuts.
I liked his ability to pick his spots physically too. He had some huge hits
he would throw
along the way, right? Yeah. Like
he tried to throw one at me and missed. I saw him coming.
Did he?
He tried to.
He missed a few too. He didn't miss Brad Marchand that one time though. No. God, remember when he blew up Brad Marchand?
Which was awesome too. Another guy you really don't like, so you're just you kind of hoping in that one. You're just like, I hope both guys are hurt. Like when you see that watching the highlights as a player, not now. Now I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But
I mean, Gager, he was just lots of fun to watch. Like it was just it was a treat watching him, and I thought he was great.
I'm sure there's a generation of young defensemen that modeled their game after PK. He was.
Because it looked like it was fun to play that way, right? Like usually defense was like, oh, I'll be Lidstrom and chip the puck out and be amazing at it. But like Subban was like, wait a second, I can go do this. This is great.
Yeah. Last guy.
I don't think you get Cale Makar. I don't think you get Cale Makar without him. Like without him and Erik Karlsson, and maybe like a Letang. Like there's
Letang could do it a bit.
A couple guys. Yeah, a couple guys. You don't get that. So
yeah, he's last guy toe dragging coming out of the zone. Right? It's amazing, and it's fun. It's funny if the I tweeted a guy said, and I was thinking about it in my car at the beginning of the season with the talk of the emotional level of the Oilers not being where it should have been. I was like, man, if they would have signed PK to the league minimum, that would have been a pretty boisterous voice in the dressing room before games, whether you like it or not. And I'm sure there's some players that would drive them crazy, but that would definitely bring a level of swagger and maybe a little bit more anger before games with PK in the dressing room. So, but that's ship sailed, whatever.
All right.
I mean, there's no cap space.
Yeah, I know.
There wasn't
enough.
But from an emotional standpoint, Gage, I'll agree with you. Like that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think because they don't have a lot of that big personality, and he brings that big personality and he brings experience too. So yeah, it would have been interesting. There wasn't a fit for him, so I understand why Edmonton wouldn't have pursued it. But
do you think if they could have had the cap room, would they have thought about it more for minimum?
Probably at minimum. But the thing is like where is he going to play in the lineup? Like
doesn't matter. He's going to be in and out probably. But for minimum, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, ship sailed at this point.
Let's sailed. That's for sure. Well, until they bring him out of retirement next year when they get eliminated in the first round this year. Man, I joke, but I could see us in September being like, "Can you believe that Subban's in camp on a PTO?" So we'll see how that one plays out. 4 questions for Keep It or Clip It. Let's bang this out before we wrap up this episode 278 of Two Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by our great partners over at Cool Bets. Let's start here, boys. Connor McDavid is a lock for the Hart Trophy. Keep it or clip it.
Keep it. Next question.
Well, I ask because at TSN.ca today, there's an article about McDavid and Pasternak. So
no, I was going to. I mean, but here's the thing: is it's not McDavid and Matthews or Marner. So
he's a lock. Yeah. Man, wouldn't that be something? Mitch Marner wins because Matthews didn't play very well this year. Oh, that would be something.
So was Mitch Marner.
Yeah. All right. Campbell and Skinner should be in a 1A, 1B setup right now, as opposed to Skinner having played the 17 of 21 or whatever it was there for a stretch. Keep it or clip it?
Clip it. Skinner still has been better. We're getting closer to that because Campbell's been clawing his way back here and starting to show some signs of getting to where he needs to be. But I mean, it was a game against Anaheim here. So I need to see more. So we're not there yet. I would.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Yep.
Gager?
Keep it. They need both these guys going now. It's Skinner looked. I know he got pulled, and I think I said on your show, Dusty, I didn't like the goals. I didn't like the body language. He looks tired. I mean, maybe he's having a kid, so there's those. It's tough.
Congratulations on being tired for the next 10 years of your life.
Yeah. I think you don't really notice that first few months, though. I think he'll be fine. It's next year I'm worried about.
Only one of Calgary or Edmonton will end up making the playoffs. Keep it or clip it?
Keep it. The other teams are playing too good. It's just...
Cass is torn.
I know I'm torn because I keep saying that I think Seattle at some point is going to skid. But when I look at you still have Colorado to squeeze in there too, and I think Colorado, as they continue to get healthy, is going to keep playing better and better. So I think they get in. It's going to be tougher and tougher. So I kind of got to keep it, even though that scares me a little bit to say right now with what I've seen.
Joey in the live chat says basically a plot twist. They both miss at this pace. So wouldn't that be something? Alberta, no playoffs anywhere in Alberta. Not even a city to cheer against. That would be tough. That would be tough. All right, final one, boys. We were all talking about how we got obsessed with a video game somewhere along the way earlier on. I asked this because the odd time I'll have like a half hour and my wife will be like, why don't you go play video games? And I'm always like, 30 minutes? What's the point? So the question is, 30 minutes is not enough time to play video games.
Whoa.
Keep it or clip
Whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa.
Keep it.
Stop now. Let me get this straight. Your wife is saying, honey, go play video games, and you're going, for only half an hour? What?
That's not much. It's like one quick game.
What kind of
world
do you live in, Dusty?
That your wife is even saying that. My video game time is on nights when there's no hockey games and my wife falls asleep early on the couch and I can sneak downstairs without waking her up. That's when I play video games.
In fear of not waking her up.
No, it's like I like slither. Like it's like I slide and then gently slide down. I put on slippers now because I'm like, it's a little quieter for me to walk. So.
Yeah, I bet you're going down just like a Navy SEAL in preparation for modern warfare, right? It's getting you ready.
Yeah.
Do you have glow-in-the-dark goggles too, Cass?
Keeping all the lights low. Yeah, so she doesn't get woken up with the lights.
You don't step on a squeaky toy.
Hey, honey, you want to watch The Crown again? It's really exciting, and I'm sure you'll stay awake the whole episode.
Drink this tea that won't put you to sleep.
Yeah, this chamomile tea.
Yeah,
it's good to stay awake.
Isn't that Seinfeld one where Jerry's feeding his girlfriend
to play toys,
cough medicine, to play with her GI Joes?
Yeah, and you brought George over. They were both playing. She's passed out sleeping. God, that's too good. Alf Top Shelf on Twitter says 2 hours minimum for a good video game sesh.
Oh yeah, minimum.
So that's what I mean. So 30 minutes. What's the point of 30 minutes? It's not good enough.
It depends. I can sneak in 2 Crucible matches in 30 minutes for sure. That's a quick 30. That's a quick 30 kills, Dusty.
I still don't know what you're talking about. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. You guys have a great weekend. We'll have Friday and Saturday games to break down on Monday. It should be wonderful. Here, let's wrap with this. 4 possible points up for grabs this weekend. How many do they get?
I'm going 4.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
I say 3. I think you beat San Jose and then you are scrappy against Vegas and you end
come
up
short.
in OT.
All right.
Yeah, it's 4. They're gonna. I've seen Jaws. Doesn't end up well for the Sharks. And Vegas, they always play good in Vegas. Everyone has a good time in Vegas.
Well, it might be a night out in Vegas if they win that one, so that could be fun. All right, boys, we will talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend.
Later.